There's a bald eagle sitting on a tree out there. Pretty cool. So at the risk of being redundant, we're at the end. Civilization is falling apart, and there's no going back this time. There are cycles in basically everything, natural anyway, and what's happening is that the biggest cycle is going through a phase transition. So a phase transition is like when an ice cube melts and changes into, when ice changes into water or water changes into vapor. So you can have a steady state for quite a while, and then something happens and it flips, but there's that transitionary period where it's flying now. And it's chaos. When these transitions happen, the time between the two steady states is a very chaotic time. And that's exactly what's happening right now. But the cycle that's concluding and changing into a new phase is as big as you can think, even. And this is why. So again, reality is a fractal. It's a hologram. And that's, so in a hologram, each little piece that you can pluck out from the main picture contains the entire picture. So this is why all these other smaller cycles are also going through phase transition, like the fiat currency cycle. All of fiat currency, the whole system, is collapsing and going through a phase transition. The wokeness, the emotions are becoming as substantial as physicality, as the laws of nature. So the laws of thoughts and emotions are becoming as substantial within human consciousness. The subjective interpretation of it is becoming as substantial as being punched in the face. If someone calls you a name that you don't like, or that means something to you, that can hurt as much as getting kicked in the balls. And the environment, like, why are all of these things collapsing at once? Why would the fiat currency system be collapsing simultaneously with the financial system? It's because they are both holograms, taking a little chunk out of the big picture. And the big picture is that I know you guys love this, don't you? You're probably sick of it by now, hey? But anyway, it's this whole column, the yang bias, the physical realm, the thing, this is flipping to this now, to this side, to this column, which is the yin. So think of it in the biggest way possible. So it's the physical realm itself. The physical realm itself is flipping to a non-physical realm. Well, what could that possibly be? It's not like, well, it's just like a ghost that's just, you can see through it, but it's still physical. No, it's not just a physical light. It's thought. It's, in the beginning, the Word was with God and the Word was God. Before the Big Bang and after the big crunch or whatever is occurring now is the thought realm. So I finally got it solidified here what's going on. Is that, so on this, the columns, the yang, physical. Keep it simple. The yin, thought. And it's a pendulum. It keeps going like this, swinging back and forth. You can have it go all the way around if you want, but I find that swinging back and forth is probably better because there's only two. There's only two fundamental appearances. Two relative fundamental realms, and that is the thought realm and the physical realm. And neither of these are fundamental. Neither of them really cause each other, but they are, the appearance is that they are causally related. So what's happening now is this phase transition of going from a physical experience to a completely emotional, thought-based experience, which may last another 13.7 billion years, relatively speaking. So what's happening is the digital realm. The digital realm is the transitionary period between the chaos, the chaotic transitionary period between these two massive systems, the thought and the physical. So there's all these conspiracy theories, but you have to take it one step back, one step bigger, more comprehensive, is that it's Maya itself. This entire realm, this entire physical experience, thought and physical, is an illusion. It is the conspiracy. Everyone's conspirating to keep the ego and this realm appearing as fundamental reality. So even the ones that are in control, that think they're in control, they're the puppets of Maya, of their own thoughts. See what I mean? The people who are in control, the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, or the dozen people that own all the banks in the world, basically. It seems as though they have control over basically all of humanity, and the financial system, but they don't have any control over their own thoughts, do they? Guaranteed. They're just as much a slave to their thoughts as they are enslaving humanity. And they will go through much. They probably are. Would you want to be in the head of one of these leaders? Can you imagine? There's no peace, there's no stillness in these people's minds at all, is there? So I guess the point is that this is a death. Transition requires a passing away of the old and a birth of the new. So this is a big deal. No matter how difficult it is to get to reality and peace and the absolute happiness that you are, that is synonymous with just being, abiding in and as effortless thought-free awareness. That is the reality. If you find yourself in mental anguish or even physical anguish, this is the cure. It's just one thing to do, because there's only one problem. The problem is that we don't know who we really are, what we really are. We are, you are, the frame of reference on which all experience occurs. You're not what's happening, you're what's witnessing. So again, if you ever find yourself, and you will very shortly here within this year, there will be unprecedented suffering within human consciousness, the human species. And there'll be so much chaos and confusion and suffering but none of it's real. That's why there's humor, is because none of this is real. And when you wake up from a nightmare, sometimes don't you laugh? Because it's funny. Taking something to be what it isn't is a form of humor, is basically where humor comes from. Is the irony of it. The irony of it is that you are God and you're searching for that which is searching. You're searching for what you are. You're searching for yourself. Isn't that ironic? You're searching for yourself. Well, how do you do that? How do you find yourself? Well, you turn your gaze inward. You turn your attention inward onto the stillness, the frame of reference, the unchanging, unmoving frame of reference on which all of this occurs. But if you like suffering, then continue on, please. Except when you're suffering, that's exactly not liking what you're experiencing, isn't it? When you're suffering, that is exactly not wanting to experience what you're experiencing. So those who include suffering in life as part of the enlightenment experience, as part of what you are, the reality, well, they just don't know what they're talking about. I sit in stillness to show you. And you say, well, I can't do that because Timmy's got soccer practice and Jane has a recital and I am going to get my hair done and the truck needs to be fixed and that is the karma that you have put onto your plate that you have created. You've done all of this. There's no room for blame anymore. It's not the government's fault, it's your fucking fault. Everything in your life has happened because of what you desire, not your thinking mind, your deeper self. You can't have a high without a low. You can't avoid karma. You can't step out of the cycles. You can't avoid physical law if you take yourself to be physical. If you take yourself to be physical, then what we've been doing through technology by trying to extend our lives forever, our biological lives, that's basically what we've done, is we're trying to keep this thing forever. That's why the technology has increased our life expectancy and decreased the physical suffering, but the mental suffering has increased to the degree to which technology has lessened the physical suffering. So there is this amount of suffering occurring. It's constant, and it only goes away and is lessened by realizing what's real, by finding, because that's the purpose. The purpose of suffering is to keep you on the path, but we don't recognize it. We suffer and we don't find the cause of suffering. We just keep doubling down, just keep taking more heroin maybe, or more painkillers. It's not working. It doesn't work. Thought, it's so pervasive and so accepted that thought is the final authority. Like, thought is relating to the physical realm, and it's leading us to some sort of truth about the physical realm, but it is not. It is not. It is the new realm. You are being groomed and programmed to accept this transition period into the thought realm, where you will not have a body. There will just be information flying around and you'll be interested, I guess. That's the thing, is being intellectually stimulated all the time, and that's why thought processes, systems of thought, are mechanisms through which to produce more thought. That is it. So when the thoughts become predominant over top of the sensations, then that's when the switch will occur. And the switch originally goes through that thing. It goes into the digital realm, where the further programming, I guess, takes place, and then flip, you're back to pre-Big Bang era of just thought and emotions. But neither, do you see what I mean? Neither of these are real. Neither the thought realm nor the physical realm are fundamental reality. They are the duality of the yin and the yang. All of these columns that my fundamental model of reality expresses. It's so simple, people. It's just so obvious and simple that this model actually fits. It works. It explains things in the real world. Why are we addicted to the screen? Why can't we stop thinking? Why is this all expanding exponentially? Why is the fiat currency expanding infinitely, exponentially? Why? Why is the human population on an exponential uptick? Why is everything going exponential? All these seemingly unrelated systems are all going exponential towards this one point, not very far in the future. 1 to 2 decades in the future is this singularity where all of these exponential models and expressions of these systems are all coming to a point. It's because of the big system, the big transition. I can't express to you the importance of this. And fortunately, it doesn't take some sort of esoteric studying of decades of these esoteric, like, systems of thought. Even if it's religion, it's a system of thought. Science, religion, psychology, philosophy, it's all thought. So none of it is leading to truth. None of it. Not even religion is leading to truth, obviously. Look at where it's gotten us. So you just need to transcend all thought. Still the I, still that voice that's in your head, because that voice that's in your head, Canada Geese now. The voice that's in your head is your future self, right? We're getting so close to this singularity that the thought realm is leaking into this realm. And it's the conduit is symbol, right? The two-dimensional, it's so obvious to me. Symbol is a two-dimensional expression in a three-dimensional realm, right? It's three-dimensional, but it's a two-dimensional realm existing in a three-dimensional realm, isn't it? Everything on a screen, everything on a page is two-dimensional. So you're paying attention to a lesser realm, right? 2 is lesser than 3. So you're going lesser and lesser. The metaverse is lesser. Sure have sharp claws. Well, that's it. It's just practice. Pull away every time you feel bored and want to be entertained and go for the screen. Don't. That's it. Just sit and practice. And start there. If you're going to start somewhere, start there. And then once you get a feel for the peace and the contentment, well, then you might just dig that, and you might naturally, if you get to the place where you naturally, that is your preferred state, is to just sit in stillness and peace, then it'll be easy. You'll recognize what's really empty and what's really substantial, rather than trying to add more emptiness to make it real. See, again, this is this model explains fucking everything. I get a little more riled up. Overconsumption, addiction, it's all because we're trying to fill the emptiness with more emptiness. And this is why, if you keep doubling down on this, it goes exponential. You just keep trying to turn up the volume and flashing lights and all the emotions, and you just keep cranking up everything so there's a higher high and a lower low, so you really feel it, right? The more extreme things are, the roller coaster is, the more you know you exist, but it kind of takes all of your attention. You're not exactly doing anything, thinking about anything else than sheer terror when you're on one of these rides. But the ride ends. It's all manufactured. This whole ride is all manufactured, isn't it? It's all manufactured. So the only way is to recognize that all experience is fundamentally unsubstantial and empty, and to just stop, rather than the opposite, which is what everyone else is doing, is just cranking it up and trying to make more. More does not equal real. More just develops into exponential systems that eventually are going to the singularity and then the switcheroo. My eagle's back. All right, I guess that's it.